Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. We're continuing in Sefer Chofetz Chaim. Chlal Beis, Halacha, Hey and Vav. The good news is that we're actually going to do 2 days right now because usually we do it at 12:30. I'm not available at that time. So we're going to do two. They're both very short. Here we go. Chlal Beis, Halacha, Hey. Nirali. Says the Chofetz Chaim, it would seem to me, now the Chofetz Chaim is saying his own chidush. De'masipar b'apei Tlasa haya b'fnei anoshim yirei Elokim shenis Harah me'yisrei Lashon Harah. If the report that was said in front of three people, if one of the three people, or if the three, let's start off, all three people are God-fearing, modest people. Again, let's understand Apei Tlasa. The lumdus of Apei Tlasa is, if somebody says derogatory information about somebody else in front of three people, then those listeners are allowed to say it. Why? Because once it's said in front of three people, the word is going to get out. But that's only if these are three average guys. But three guys who are very careful in the laws of Lashon Harah, then you can't say anymore that since it was said in front of three people, the word is going to get out, because these people might not spread it. And therefore, the laws of Apei Tlasa won't apply. This is not destined to be revealed. If that's the case, it is prohibited minat Torah to say this over to another. Says the Chofetz Chaim, "Va'afilu imrak echad me'ashloisha haya ishrei Elokim." If even one of the three people was God-fearing, shenizar me'yisra Lashon Harah, that's careful from the laws of Lashon Harah, gam kein dina hachi, it would have the same din. Desu leka shloisha mefarsmim. We no longer have three people who are going to spread it. So this always, this always causes great wonderment to me. So how does Apei Tlasa ever apply? So somebody spoke Lashon in front of three people. They're allowed to say it. Why? Because since it's going to get out, they're allowed to say it. Well, don't say it and it won't get out. No. Human nature is that if it's said in front of three people, it's not going to get out. It's going to get out. Yeah, but if I'm God-fearing, then I won't say it. And once I don't say it, it's not going to get out. No, it seems like the heter of Apei Tlasa is only if you would like to categorize yourself as someone who can control their mouth. Okay, so if you're a guy who can't control his mouth, and it was said in front of two other like-minded people, then you would be allowed to say it. But if any of those three people are the kind of guys that like learn Chofetz Chaim Yomi, then no. If you're committing yourself to learning Sefer Chofetz Chaim every day, you've now disrupted the process of Apei Tlasa. You have single-handedly put a stumbling block in the phenomenon of what we call chavra islay. Even if one of the guys, you're right. If it's already in the paper, then it's out. If it's already in the news, it's out. So then there's a yesh oimrim, that if this is not the only thing you're trying to say and you're not trying to spread it, then you'd be allowed to say it. But now we're dealing with a very limited case of where it was said in front of three people, but if they are God-fearing, or one of them is God-fearing, you don't have the heter of Apei Tlasa. Says the Chofetz Chaim, it's possible if one of the three people was related to or was friendly with the person who it was spoken about, gam kein shayach hay taima, this reason is also shayach. Why? Because he's not going to spread it. Dehu bevadai lo yelech v'yegala laha'ilam hagnus shel kroivai v'oyavai, because he definitely will not go and reveal the disparagement of his relative or friend. So you no longer have three people. Now, this is amazing to me, because this is the Chofetz Chaim's own chidush. The Gemara says that there's a heter of Apei Tlasa. So now what? If one of the three people is God-fearing, that interrupts the heter of Apei Tlasa? Yes, that's the Chofetz Chaim's chidush. It doesn't apply if one of the three people is God-fearing or related. Ordinarily, says the Chofetz Chaim, I'll tell you another chiddush. The dafka ba'oisa ir sheshama b'apei tlasa. This only in the city itself where it was heard in front of 3 people. Mutter legalos mishum de chavra chavra islay. Chavra chavra islay only applies in the same city. Says the Chofetz Chaim, where do I get that from? From the fact that the Gemara in Baba Basra only, the Gemara in Baba Basra equates the laws of Lashon Harah and Macha. And just like Macha, we only apply that if somebody is on your land and you protest, not in their presence, it's a valid Macha shaloi b'fanav, is a good Macha. Why? Chavra chavra islay. That's only ba'oisa ha'ir. Likewise, the law of Apei Tlasa, that chavra chavra islay would apply only ba'oisa ha'ir. Now, what about nowadays when the lines of communication have expanded? I don't know. Maybe it's different. Maybe even be'ir acheres. Maybe even be'ir acheres. But I'm not sure. I don't know. Because very likely, the laws of Apei Tlasa will be limited to actual conversation. You'll say, but nowadays you could send a WhatsApp. Pal, if you actually believe the WhatsApps that you get, then you need therapy, you need medication, and you need life coaching. Nobody actually believes things people send them in a WhatsApp. Maybe it only applies in actual human conversation, but I'm not sure. I don't know what the guidelines of Chavra Islay are. But the Chofetz Chaim at least codifies that Chavra Islay is only ba'oisei ha'ir. Avaloi bi'ir acheres. After shayoros mitzuyos, even though the caravans are common. Va'ayim beber mayim chayin. Interesting, if you look in the Ber Mayim Chaim, he says that he quotes here, take a look. He says, "V'neim kenim yoymar olav echad davar zeh b'fnei shloisha anosh b'medina zu oy be'ir zu she'ein dar ba oisay bal malacha yeh mutar achagach la'echad me'ashlosh lamer zeh be'iroy mitam dechavra islay v'sheretz mitzvus mezuzah b'vadei v'slev yizgal ein koil ein svara klal loymar kein." By macha it may apply, it may spread even b'shayoros mitzuyos. So then why don't we compare Macha to Lashon Harah? That's only by a Macha where somebody is on your field unlawfully. Then maybe you could apply if somebody lived with an Eishes Ish, ba'avoinois gedolos, you could say maybe Apei Tlasa applies Meir le'ir. But a Dvarim HaKtanim that are not normally heard Meir le'ir, the laws of Apei Tlasa would not apply. So the Chofetz Chaim is now saying that the extent of whether information travels would depend on the magnitude of the information. If you say about somebody, I don't think you should go to this dry cleaner, because the starch on the pocket is not the way it should be. So now what you're going to say that let's say you visit England and you bet, could you expect that if a few guys in Brooklyn are talking about a dry cleaner in England, it's going to get out to London? We're not talking about such catastrophic Lashon Harah that we could expect it to spread. So even though by Macha it may spread Meir le'ir, by Lashon Harah it wouldn't. However, if you're saying about somebody, like a bombshell revelation that could, that people will hear it, they would be shocked, then maybe the Chofetz Chaim would say that Chavra Islay would apply L'Medina Acheres. It seems like it would be connected to the laws of Macha, but Macha, the Chofetz Chaim says, is usually of greater magnitude than the regular situation of Lashon Harah. Okay, that's one limud. We're going to do now tomorrow's.
ask you a question, Rabbi?
Yeah, go for it.